the BUTcast and Happy New Year, everybody.
It didn't fucking work at all.
It's the end of the 2010s. We're beginning the 2020s. And before we get going on a new decade, let's take a look back and reminisce about all the events that happened in the 2010s, because a lot went on, and I think the best place for us. Oh yeah, and I think a lot of business, particularly in your major, and I think see what I did there? I know you. And I think that the biggest thing we can talk about, the most important stride probably in all of our society has been strides in technology, particularly the rise of smartphones and streaming. Does anyone who
first of all, I love technology.
Yes.
It lets me do stuff that's like, it makes it like I can do it easier.
Dude, shout out Marquez.
Bro, shout out Marquez, bro.
Marquez, bro.
Yo, he like reviews the tech that I'm like, whoa. Like I can't afford to buy it, but it's like, yo, it's good to know.
Yeah, you can't afford not to watch. I mean,
do you want to talk about our streamer situation first, or poppers?
Yeah, I mean,
so the first one was a dud.
That was terrible.
Straight shot blanks, bro.
Yeah, jeez, like Marquez would never.
Marquez. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was trash.
Oh, that was terrible, man. That was, I've seen confetti cannons that do that, but never these.
Yeah, I don't know. But so you mentioned smartphones, and I do want to talk about phones because I love phones. I'm not a phone head as to where I always need the newest and best phone. I kind of always wait till my phone breaks. But if we throw it back to my first phone, I was 13 years old, and it was a prepaid flip phone.
Same.
It was one of those things where I had to buy a card every couple weeks because I ran out of minutes. And like the only people's number I had on my phone was like my mom, my dad, and like my emergency contacts.
AKA the squad.
The squad.
The squad right there. Moms, pops, and grandmoms.
Like, dude, texting on that thing was the best. I mean,
what brand phone do you have?
Bro, I don't even remember. It was just, I don't even think they make it anymore. It was just one of those blue flips.
I remember my first.
Get them blue flips.
The blue flip. It was a blue flip.
Blue
my
flips.
first phone was. It was a little bit before the 2010s, to be quite honest. But it had 5 buttons on it. It had numbers for 4 presets. 4 preset numbers, and one in the direct middle, the worst possible spot, by the way, to have this button that was only to call 911.
It's like it was like those love bug phones.
Yeah, pretty much. No, it looked like a little alien. We got like a sculpture up around here, somewhere that kind of looks like an alien. It's got the little ears on it. It looked identical to that, and I gotta tell you, like, my favorite function of that was the horribly placed 911 button, because the number of times I pulled my phone out of my pocket to call my mom and be like, "Hey, Mom, it's time to go pick up from school." My balls didn't drop to like 2015. Rip.
Classic.
Yeah, classic.
Yo, that's a throwback.
That's a throwback.
Balls dropping, that's throwback.
Throwback. Yeah.
So you had like the senior citizen, like person with dementia phone that you were
you
had the dementia deluxe.
Oh, I was very early on set. My
dementia
3G,
Plus,
bro.
Dementia Plus, man, for sure.
That was when we had 2G.
Yeah, dementia 2G.
Oh yeah.
Those in the blue flips. Those ran.
Blue
those running the phone.
Fucking ran them hoes, bro. Flips.
Yeah, we were really conducting business.
Dude, do you remember when you wanted a song as your ringtone, you would record it?
I actually missed it.
I would look at a song up on YouTube, and I would record it on my phone, and then I would set it as my ringtone. I thought that was the coolest shit ever.
That was so fun, honestly, because now obviously you can still do all that, but it's not. It doesn't have the same vibe.
It's not. Now it's so easy. Like you download an MP3 or a wave, and like I can put the Chili EP as my
exactly, and it's gonna just be like, oh, it's whatever, it's a normal song, you know. It doesn't have the same vibe.
It's not. You don't have to put in as much work.
Although, dude,
kids these days,
this happened to me in high school. My freshman year I was still into that. Like, I didn't really upgrade to a nice phone until probably my sophomore year of high school when I got like an iPhone for the first time. Yeah. I had this like it was called the NV Touch by LG, and it was like you flipped it up, and I downloaded Eminem's. What song was it? It was the one with 50. It was one with 50 Cent. Lights or Lights Go Out or something like that. But I had that as my ringtone, and in class, obviously, I always had my phone on silent. Yeah. But the one day I didn't have it on silent, I got a spam call in the middle of a presentation. My teacher was up there at the projector giving a presentation. My phone went off, bro, and it was just like bang and Eminem, and then everybody looked at me, and I'm like, fuck.
I got a similar
story.
Yeah, I got a similar story from high school. It wasn't from me, but it was from a friend of mine. Her brother was in a science class, and his ringtone, for some reason, he had set his ringtone to be The Lonely Island's I'm on a Boat.
It's classic.
And it rang in the middle of class, but and his ringtone began at the part where they're just yelling, "Oh shit!" And so it's dead silent in the middle of a test, and this guy's phone goes off, and the teacher just got so pissed at him.
While we're on the topic of classroom mishaps, one time in class, some girl was showing off her science project, and she was the one that's like, you could tell she put in like a couple, like almost 100 hours on this thing.
That's science as fuck, man.
Well, all I'll say is it included, I don't remember the specifics of what it was, but it included flames, and it got engulfed in flames, and it's like set off a siren. Luckily, the water didn't go off, then she cried, and we had to evacuate the class.
So, Jake, what was your first phone?
My first phone was a Virgin Mobile flip phone. I was rocking that.
Where were you at the time?
Still. So.
We're pure.
I only buy phones that are basically.
It's the purest podcast.
Yes.
Jake, we'll cut that.
All right.
We'll cut that.
Where it's edited. But after that, I was rumor gang throughout my entire middle school up into high school. I had rumor 1 and the rumor 2.
Wow.
And those were just the slide function that I love that shit, bro.
That happened too.
They had that little pop. It was like that.
Wow.
Instant
messed with the rumors I loved it. Big fan. I miss it. I wish I could just thwap my phone,
Oh yeah, everyone wants to thwap.
You gotta
phone.
thwap it.
You can't.
Do you guys see the Razor?
I'm flapping.
Oh, the new Razor. That's
dude, that
dope.
was tight.
Like it's bringing back that throwback, but it's also mixing in. It's also mixing in the modern touchscreen, which I like.
I like 5 years from now, you're gonna catch me driving a Cybertruck with a Razor flip phone. I'm just gonna pull out the Cybertruck, take a call. I'm not. No one's gonna be there. I'm just like. That's my goal in life. It's just in the future 2020s, that's how I'm coming.
Yeah, someone walks around with two flip phones on either ear.
Oh, that's dope.
No,
that's
two
business.
flip phones.
That's big
per
business.
Ear. Flip phone. I can't say it either.
Flip phone.
Flip phone.
Flip phone.
Flip phone.
Two sounds.
Two.
Yeah.
Two.
But you got two.
That's how you know they're doing business. See?
That one worked.
That one
worked.
That one worked. Like that one. Like that was. That one was
poppers.
aroused.
We have more poppers, and
we're just gonna set them off at random times.
We each have 3 poppers each, and you don't ever know when.
You know what? You know what else is really popping? Following, liking, and
subscribing to
our podcast. So if you haven't done it already, click the follow up button, click the like button, click the subscribe button on YouTube. We're all over the place on social media at TheBUTcast. That is on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. If you look far enough, YouTube as well.
And YouTube essentially.
Yeah, YouTube essentially. I would think, if you're watching this, you're seeing.
And Spotify, right?
And Spotify too.
Shit, maybe even Vimeo. Nah, that's whack. That's whack, bro.
Yeah, myspace.com/TheBUTcast. You're gonna find something completely different. Don't worry about it. Don't do it.
Follow us everywhere.
Make that mistake one time. Yeah. Well, we've gone over phones, but I think that the next natural step, one thing that has been a monumental change in the function of phones in our society over the 2010s has been the rise of social media. We're all on our phones on social media. I think that's the biggest innovation of the 2000s.
Yes.
And when all is said and done in 2100, I think that's something that they'll be saying is one of the quintessential innovations of our century, but definitely of the decade. In 2010, just a list, Twitter grew exponentially over this decade. Tinder, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Vines, short life and quick death happened in the 2010s. So that has to be the biggest and most important innovation of our decade, because now we are flooded with social media of all kinds. Everyone has it on their phones, on their laptops, on their tablets. Tablets also were a big innovation of the 2010s, with the first most notable one being the iPad released in 2010.
And all those things.
Even my grandma legit is on social media.
Bro, my grandma's a Facebook
Hey,
pro.
rep your grandma, at her.
Yeah.
What's her at?
Link in bio.
What's your at,
You
Ali?
don't
bio.
know? No, you don't know your own grandmother's
We'll put it in the bio.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Link in bio.
You know, at least I know that my grandmother, like at least on my dad's side, I know she doesn't have social media. Okay, now.
But let
She's
me
not
just say
alive
this
to have
though.
it, but
Let me just say this
wow,
that
too soon. What?
Your family's like,
let me just say this that social media has given a platform for all media. Like
yes.
just
And
think
podcasts?
like even like this podcast, you know, like 10 years ago watching a podcast, like YouTube just started, so there was none of that. I mean, if you wanted to watch a podcasts weren't even around really. It was all just radio.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to do
And
something
even
like this,
that,
you'd have
like
to be on
radio, they weren't really. I mean, other than maybe like ESPN with, I think like Mike in the morning at the time. There really wasn't.
Mics.
There wasn't really any. Yeah, you gotta have 2 mics. We got 3 here, but you know,
Hey.
shut up. Other than that, I don't really ever remember any other radio show before that really doing television, and now everyone's doing it. Radio's doing it. Radio, television. Video gaming has even gone onto streaming platforms.
Huge.
With
Video
Mixer,
gaming is huge.
Twitch, YouTube even has a lot of streamers on it of all varieties. So it's created not only a new platform and new ways of communication, but new outlets for entertainers of all kind
Yeah.
to spread their creativity and to make a career out of it.
Which is that social media has single-handedly made people famous and give them careers and livings off of stuff that they post on Instagram, YouTube. You know, like never existed before.
And I always feel like older generations still don't understand that. And they think that it's
Because
just
it's
an
tough
easy
to-
job.
Like you
It's
mentioned,
tough for someone who hasn't
It's just tough
lived
to-
in that era to understand how something can really
How
be
hard it
can
is
literally
to blow up, you know.
back years and years, decades ago, an overnight success, so to speak, would be somebody that, you know, went from nothing to a megastar in any entertainment medium in a few years.
Yeah, exactly.
Today, that can quite literally happen overnight. It takes one video getting into the YouTube algorithm or getting a lot of retweets.
Instagram, one photo of an egg to take over Instagram.
Hey man, you gotta appreciate a good egg.
What was the name of that account again? World Record Egg.
Yeah,
It's the
World Record
most,
Egg.
like,
I think it got like,
to the
didn't
left.
it get to like the billion likes? I
Bro,
think
I
it
know
got
it's the
into a
most
billion.
liked Instagram.
I'm pretty sure it got
photo.
over 1 billion likes, and that's just crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, so social media in general. I mean, when you think about it, it's something that like we use every day. I'm pretty sure every single day, one of the first things I do in the morning is check my phone, and that might be a bad thing, but I always check Instagram, I check Twitter, and I'm obsessed with YouTube, so I'm always watching.
I wake up.
Yeah, the
First
World
thing I
Record
do,
egg,
I open
18
up.
million followers.
Oh shit!
I wake up. I
On
open
Instagram.
LinkedIn. I send a message to all my followers telling them to get their money up, and then I go on my day, and that's just my morning routine every single day.
Every single day.
And that's how social media has changed
I
my
ever
life.
get responses to that?
No, I never really received.
I mean, of
Nobody
course
gets their money up?
No.
Wow.
Yo, we can't
Weak.
forget that like obviously I take a break for like I'll be scrolling Instagram, but you know I get the chilly feels. And
You got to
No,
eat,
like,
right?
I go to the kitchen and I warm up some Wolf Brand no bean chili, and it's just that's the feeling I get.
Yeah,
That's the feeling I get when I take a
explode with
spoonful of
happiness.
chili. But anyways, back to social media.
But a lot happened in the last
Oh,
decade.
yeah.
There's a lot. What else? We got some other
Tons,
stuff on our
yeah.
list we want to get to, right?
Oh yeah, there's tons else that happened. I mean, virtual reality came through.
VR is huge now.
VR
I
has
think
become
the next
very, very
decade, that's
huge.
going to be.
It's gonna continue to grow in 2020. So we'll come back to that later on. We make our predictions for the next decade. There's been
Yeah.
a lot of. I think something we also need to touch on. To continue on with the talk of virality in media today is to talk about something like Vine and the rise and fall of Vine and the rise now of something like TikTok.
Vine was huge. I mean, like Vine was a hub created just for to me it was a hub created just for like viral videos.
Yeah.
I mean, like obviously the original synopsis of Vine was create a 6-second video, and it's kind of like quick filmmaking for anybody. But then it just turned into straight memes. Like
Memes.
it was just
Honestly, maybe more than
memes.
anything, memes. The
Yeah.
influence of culture in general, like memes, might have like the biggest influence of
I mean,
our
that's-
generation's culture.
What
It's
are we but one colossal, way overblown meme
meme.
right now?
That's exactly.
Right, that's exactly what we are.
Memes are powerful.
They are.
I
Memes
think-
make the world go round.
They
And
really do.
Vine had a good 2-3 years.
Yeah, it's crazy how short it was.
That was really quick.
I think the reason for its
Vine.com still get like millions of views on YouTube too. It's
I
wild.
think
They
the
do.
reason for its
People
downfall
loved Vine.
was that people, I think, at least from what I saw, people were just taking it too far. Like, they
Yeah.
were just, instead of making a quick 6-second video,
Bonk
man, they
gang,
had
bro.
crews. Like, they were making, like, little short films on Vine,
Yeah.
and it just became, like, too cheesy.
Vine didn't do.
People started signing deals, and
Yeah.
it didn't become original anymore. It became, like, well thought out.
Yeah,
And
they didn't. Vine didn't have like a way to make money, and that's like what kind of killed them. They didn't do any ads and stuff. They started to, and it was just too late in the game.
Yeah.
It reminds me similar. You guys remember? Do you guys were VidMe at all? Is that
I
it was like a
don't.
YouTube clone
don't.
that lasted, I think, less than a year, and it was just like you could tell it was just gonna fail. You know. So
All right, so a moment of silence for VidMe.
VidMe and Vine, R.I.P.
Compare you to a kiss from a rose.
Why were those first ones such?
Dude,
I don't know.
Ones are trash,
Those
but
are
these
I don't.
ones-
Wait, were we doing it wrong?
I don't know.
Because these last couple ones, they've been bangers. They've
Been
been straight.
popping.
I mean,
They got their
they've
money,
straight
yeah.
banged us right in the face.
Oh,
So let's
wow.
move on. What? Am I wrong? Am I wrong, Ryan?
No, they didn't. They did.
Okay, good.
did.
Yeah, they exploded right in front of us.
Damn, he just
Another thing I
succumbed
want to, another thing I want to mention too. I've noticed
Yes,
this.
they did, they did.
I've noticed this since the beginning of the
What's
podcast.
that?
Was, bro, this looks like a Molotov cocktail right now.
Oh yeah.
I just want to show it's a bottle of wine, a big ass bottle of wine.
So the cork, we need.
Hey guys,
I
only
needed
one
the
way to-
cork for another bottle of wine that was more expensive that me and my girlfriend got.
So this is not a Molotov cocktail.
No.
Only one way to find out.
Light it, light it, light it, light it, light it.
It's lit.
See
Just
what
kidding.
happens.
Just kidding. Fire hazard. Okay. Now,
right,
as we move on, just stop it. It's gonna make that Molotov cocktail go off. I switched it
It's
out.
just trash wine too.
So Vine was short-lived. VidMe, of course, was short-lived.
shorter.
MySpace was very short-lived in the previous decade. And wow, that really smells like a Molotov cocktail.
That smells pretty bad.
Have you smelled Molotov cocktail?
That smells like a bonfire at a campsite where
It
it's like you're
does.
throwing in
It does.
things you shouldn't be throwing in a bonfire.
Yeah.
So so on the topic of short-lived things, particularly fads and
Mini-me.
and mini fads and things that really just took off all of a sudden but had a short shelf life.
Yeah.
That's kind of how things have worked in this decade over social media. We had things like the Ice Bucket Challenge that lasted a few
yeah.
months for a really good cause, and other issues, other things that came up, like particularly one that really that I remember well is the dress. Was it a blue and black
Oh.
dress or
Bro, it
a
was
white
both.
and
Piss me
gold?
off,
Which
bro.
one? Which
It
one?
was both, bro.
Okay, which one was it? Was it black and
See,
and blue?
that's the thing.
or
Is
white and
I've
gold?
seen when that was happening. I remember just scrolling my timeline,
Yeah.
and I would see pictures where I'm like, "That's definitely blue," and then people would post pictures where it's definitely gold. But I don't know. Like I always thought
I
it was
thought
blue
it depended
mainly.
on like the brightness and the contrast.
I would
Yeah.
see it. I legit
had-
saw it both ways. I saw it one way, and then the moment I started seeing it another way, I couldn't see it.
I saw
feel
it blue.
twice.
I saw it blue and
I
black.
feel like it's blue and black now. for
I
me.
saw it blue and black,
Yeah.
and then someone pointed out, no, it's white and gold. That was before I even, that was
Yeah.
before I knew that this was some viral thing going around. And someone just said, no, it's white and gold. You're crazy. So I looked
just
at it, I'm
like
like, okay, I
perception.
can see it. I can see what you're saying, but you're fucking nuts. It's black and blue.
Shout out to Coney 2012. Though.
Oh
Dude,
man,
fuck yeah.
Coney 2012. It started out with
Inspirational.
It started out with such great passion, and then it just devolved into complete chaos. I
Uh-huh.
remember it.
Remember that
I was
video?
in AP.
Dude, we watched it in school.
I took one AP.
you serious?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I did too. I took
They
one.
put it on in
When it
school.
came out?
I
or
took
like
one
after?
AP class
Yeah.
in all of high school. It's AP government, and our teacher took an entire day of class to
you
show us
serious?
the full documentary for Coney
my God.
2012.
Same here.
We had people that were like, oh, we need to put these signs up all over the school and all over town and everywhere. And people did it.
Yeah.
People went with it. And I shared it mostly because I just like, when people ask me stuff like that, that's kind of harmless and whatever, I'm like, all right. Wait. At that time, I was more like, you know what? Sure, I'll do it because frankly, I want you to shut the hell up.
Dude, I think I was too on the internet. I could tell like something's up.
It
I was
always
like,
felt
I don't
weird.
know, but I remember these kids. We went to a basketball game, and like an announcer made an announcement that students from my school had something they wanted to show everybody.
And it was
these
Coney
kids
2012.
Walked out with a Coney 2012 like giant fucking piece
So-
of paper, like literally 12 feet long in like marker. Like also it was like Coney 2012. That was it.
Right.
It was so absurd and awkward. It was just.
I remember watching it, not knowing what to think. I was just
no. I was like, okay, I get.
It's like, yeah, that's fucked up.
It's like, yeah, that's it's messed up.
Weird.
He's using these child soldiers, and that's the kind of
presentation just fell off.
It did, and something was definitely off with the filmmaker because it kind of just fell off.
Something did go off.
No, it did. And it kind of just stopped.
Something did go off.
It came to a full stop after the filmmaker. I think his name.
You might want to say it finished.
Yeah. No. Oh, he did. Jamie Russell definitely finished. He ran around naked and was was
pleasuring himself.
Yeah, pleasuring himself in the town square. He said he had an out of body experience, but something was.
He had a bodily experience.
Oh, yeah,
bro.
it was a bodily experience.
That moment when.
And from then on, there was no more mention of Coney 20. It just
instantly.
died off.
Yeah.
It completely went away, and years later, people were like, "Whatever happened?"
Memes have a lifeline, and
the
they
shelf
they
life
just
of
all
memes
die.
is like the amount of memes that actually have a shelf life longer than like. Even first of all, a week or a month is already small, and then there's even less that actually survive.
There was a guy on Twitter who
years.
he was famous for making like the meme calendars, and he would always like time frame the memes. I don't think he's made them recently, but he always used to get them perfectly, like month by month, what meme was the most popular.
Yeah. Do you guys have? What's your guys' favorite meme of the decade? I know mine.
Ooh,
wow.
Damn, I need to think about that one.
Yeah. What's yours?
Mine's what was that the frog on the unicycle? I forgot its name.
Frog on the unicycle.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I gotta pull it up.
Frog on the Frog on the unicycle.
Oh shit.
Oh, what do you think? God, my favorite.
I mean, there's
meme.
so many. There's tons to choose from. There really are.
Oh, that boy, dude. That boy.
Okay. Yeah.
That boy, because that boy is just like pure fun. Like that's all he represented was a joke, and that was it. Like, oh shit, he coming, and it's that boy, and that was literally the meme.
Hey, that's also what people said when they saw Jamie Russell from Coney 2012
That's
running
what his neighbor
through the
said.
public
Oh
square.
shit, he coming.
No. Guy gets in his car. Jamie Russell's just jumping on top, dry humping. And he's like, oh, there you go.
Oh no, it was oh shit, what up? That's what the meme was.
But that's also what they were saying.
What was
about
it as
Jamie
yours?
Russell.
You guys, what do you guys have?
Man,
There's so many. That's the thing.
That's what I'm trying to go back and think of all of the big memes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The SpongeBob one kind of works because
SpongeBob memes in general pretty solid.
SpongeBob memes, yeah, there were a ton of theirs, and then there's the classic. I'm gonna head out. That kind of merges.
That's like huge right now.
That
Yeah,
is.
that's still that one survived a while.
That one, it did.
Yeah.
It had a really good shelf life. I think mine. I just
Caveman
saw it.
SpongeBob survived a long time.
Prequel memes are pretty good.
If you care about mine,
No,
we don't. So what was
We
your
don't.
Ryan? What was your,
Let's move on.
This King Ali. What was your favorite?
Uganda Knuckles.
You got
Oh yeah, that was.
Did you watch the VR chat days with Uganda Knuckles? That was classic.
Do you know the
Yeah.
way?
That's probably one of the longest lasting memes in my opinion because it's
That was long lasting. Oh, exactly. That was a classic.
Do VR chat?
There's
That's a
some
different place, bro.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
That's a different
Yeah.
plane.
things operate differently.
Oh,
It's
it's
a
a whole
reality.
different
I was
world.
thinking. I remember seeing some weird clip where like I guess it's not weird. I don't know how to describe it, but a guy had a seizure in real life while he was in VR chat, and his character was spazzing out, and then everyone started helping him, and like I don't know, the title of the video is like "Man has seizure in VR chat while like Homer Simpson helps him from his seizure." Because like in the game, it's like just imagine describing that to your grandparents.
Oh my god.
It's like Peter Griffin is helping man have a seizure in VR game.
I love how the guy having a
you know?
seizure is not his. It's not the character he is in the VR game. It's just.
But
no,
everyone
no,
else
you're a
is
man having
men.
a seizure. Everyone else
Yeah.
is Homer Simpson, Elmer Fudd,
It's
Peter
some
Griffin.
anime girls in the background just
Yeah.
like, is he okay? Or it's like,
Yeah.
no, it's clearly like a man's like, is he okay? And it's like a little anime. VR chat is wild.
Yeah, anime Barry White saves the man's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was plenty of memes that came up in the 2010s, and even more that will come in the 2020s, and that's something that's gonna be continuing.
Memes are forever. There's
Oh,
always
yeah.
gonna be memes.
At this point,
After you
especially with
started,
social
they're
media, it's never gonna.
You
it's
can
never
watch
gonna-
almost any media
If you
and
go
make a
back,
meme out of it.
Like past the decade. I know we're reviewing the decade, but you can go back and like who's on first? Like that's like an old meme. It's
What's
like an
on-
OG meme.
Oh yeah. Oh, it is.
You know.
Evan Costello.
Yeah.
Love it. I don't
Stuff
know.
like that is
Third
like
base.
there still are like memes. They're just different
Yeah,
It's like an inside joke that
memes-
everyone's in.
yeah,
on.
memes
Social media
were-
gave us a place just to spread them. That's
Yeah.
all that
And
really
I think
happens.
that's one of the best elements of social media is just like that something stupid just to laugh over.
Exactly.
That's relatable to a mass audience. And I think memes really cover that well
Yeah.
for everybody of all different walks.
Dude, I mean,
they've
like-
really been there all along.
Just look.
And yeah, and it's just like,
Oh, hey! You know that
Hey,
means sirens on.
baby.
It's time for the drink of the day.
Who?
That's right. It is time for the drink of the day. The drink of the day is always a mystery drink. Not one of us knows what it's going to be before the show. It is all prearranged by our producer, Ali. It could be good. It
Ali,
could be
baby.
bad. It could be awful. It could be poisonous.
Nah,
So Ali
bro.
has prepared a drink for us. The siren is coming off any moment now, and that means not the siren's off.
He's running.
Ali is ready
Drinks
with
are coming.
the drinks. The drinks are coming out.
What we got today?
Oh,
Ooh, we got the black juice.
Oh,
He
man.
pulled up with that
Go.
black juice,
Oh,
though.
I like the
You
juicy.
know it.
Oh,
Oh.
I
Got all
like
the
the
black
juicy. Oh,
juiciness.
give me that sweet nectar.
There you go.
Possibly poisonous. I
can't-
love it.
I legitimately can't.
The danger.
First observation of this drink, I will say right away, there is carbonation, so I'm assuming there is pop. It is a pop. It is a soda from
See,
some
I'm
sort.
going beer.
You going beer?
I think it's a
I don't
really
know,
weird
it's-
I'm
beer.
not getting the beer carbonation.
I think it's
from
a
it.
really weird beer. That's just like low key, not carbonated.
I don't know, because
that
like
much.
if I'm pouring it a little bit out and back down, it doesn't quite have that.
It doesn't have like the beer
Does it
head.
have the beer
consistency
beer head?
to it. It doesn't have a beer head.
All right.
Now,
I say we do a 1, 2, 3 smell.
I say we do a 1, 2,
I like
3.
1, 2, 3 smell.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yes.
And 3, 2, 1, give a big whiff.
Oh, that's a
Oh, bro, that's
cola.
definitely
some
cola.
sort of
bro.
cola.
Like
This is
that,
just
that's that.
Coca-Cola.
You know
That's
what?
that RC.
Oh, that's that RC Cola,
That's
man.
really just pop. That's just Pepsi.
Oh, it's straight up Pepsi. Yeah, they're just trolling us with Pepsi here. It's like, oh yeah, well, I got you guys cinnamon and Coke. Just kidding. I
that's
just poured a bunch
fucking
of
weird.
cinnamon in the fucking Pepsi.
It's Pepsi. It's definitely
it's
not
definitely-
Coke.
It smells like shit.
Yeah, it's
That's
got
got to
that
be
Pepsi
Pepsi.
vibe.
That's
man.
Pepsi. It's
It's
Pepsi.
got to be Pepsi. Oh man.
It's definitely not. So let's do a 3, 2, 1
3, 2, 1,
sip.
Should we?
And
Maybe
and
it
I
smells
won.
like Pepsi, but it's actually just like this from this Molotov
Oh
cocktail
yeah,
here.
that's probably it.
Let's do it.
But a 1,
it down,
a
count it
2,
down.
and a 3. Let's give it a taste. That's definitely just,
It's just
RC
fucking.
Cola, bro.
It's just
Straight up cola.
That's just cola.
It's just wet cola.
That's straight up
It's a
cola.
little
Wet?
watered. Yeah, it's a little wet.
Yeah, well, that's because
It's
they
a
have.
little bit watery.
Yeah, my
I will give
ice
that.
cubes melted. You
Oh,
guys have
was there
some
ice cubes in these?
There was. There was one
Yeah, bro. This is
single
just
ice
wet
cube.
cola, bro.
It's just straight up wet cola. It's not RC. It's not Coca-Cola. Not Pepsi. All sponsors, by the way. Just kidding. They're not. They're not sponsors.
Definitely.
Wet cola is.
Just cola.
All right,
And
so
confetti.
Oh, none actually made it into my drink, bro.
all right, guys. So
Nice aim.
What
do
is
we
this?
have a
Talk to us.
final guess, Jake?
Wet cola.
Straight
Tyler?
up Pepsi. Just Pepsi.
Okay, and Ryan?
Yeah, I think it's just Pepsi.
That's wet.
Okay,
It's
well,
actually Wolf chili. Wolf
well,
brand chili.
Have you tasted any, Ali?
yes, I have
Yes,
multiple
okay.
times.
God, you have?
Multiple times. Oh,
Multiple times.
Bro, it's fucking. He's got Pepsi
It's straight up Pepsi.
for the
dude.
inaugural public episode. He's got some Pepsi.
It is actually
Oh.
Coca-Cola.
But
But-
it has the
Shit.
Pepsi smell.
The
But-
wetness. The wetness.
But it is not regular Coca-Cola. It is the Coca-Cola that comes in a bottle.
That doesn't mean anything. That's the same.
It does. No, it actually does mean something.
Oh, it
because
does?
the ones that are made outside of the United States and in a bottle are actually made with real cane sugar, and the ones that are like made in the U.S. aren't.
How do we
so they
know
have a
that you
different
didn't
taste.
just?
But why? But why was it so wet?
It was
Why was it
very
wet?
It was very
Because
wet.
so when we did the last drink of the day, I totally like filled up the thing and we didn't
Yeah.
have enough time for it to freeze.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so the ice cubes just didn't freeze all the way through. It's
Wet.
actually like
Wow.
the sphere itself.
Did
is-
Jimmy do the ice cubes?
No,
That
yeah.
seems like that.
Yeah.
are you
So it was like a
covering
water.
for Jimmy?
It was a water
God
capsule.
Damn it, Jimmy!
Essentially, it was essentially frozen all around, but then the inside was a capsule of water. So when it broke into your like,
It made it wet.
yeah.
Wet cola, baby.
Wet cola, baby.
Wet cola.
Pretty accurate.
Okay, so I got some facts.
It's a new business
Let's
idea
hear
right
some
there.
facts for us.
Okay, so
Let's hear some facts about it.
So Coke obviously started in 1886.
Obviously.
Oh, we
Everybody knows.
Facts.
Everybody knows
It
that.
Get the wiki.
actually it used to be free.
Oh.
Explain.
This is because they had all that
So
sweet nasty in it.
Coke went through a really like a bad phase of their like history, where I think they're like the CEO or like the founder died, and they were waiting for somebody to like buy it off of them, so they had
yeah.
to distribute it for free.
Yeah, Johnny Coke just croaked over.
Essentially.
Fuck.
R.I.P. to the boy.
Rip.
Rip, man.
The old bottles, like when they first started, actually used to be shaped like a cocoa bean.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's kind of
That's
why
stupid.
it's
Word.
curvy like that.
Say word.
Say
Word.
less. Say
Uh,
less.
So is this one from Mexico?
No, actually that one I just got from like the 7-Eleven down the street.
Oh. Shout out to 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
It's in Spanish.
The cans, the reason that Coke came in cans was originally invented for soldiers
Oh.
out in battle. Cause
Bro,
that
we
was, like,
support the troops here on the BUTcast. I feel like
Yeah.
we should say.
Yeah, Ryan, as a resident veteran.
I'm not a veteran.
I'm
I'm not a veteran.
Veteran of
I
boot camp.
tried. I tried to make it in, but I didn't.
Ryan fought wars.
Bro,
Yeah.
Ryan, if you
Internal
were though,
wars.
we'd support you because we support the troops.
Yeah,
sure, we support
theoretically, if I did go to war,
Yeah.
I know you guys would support me.
yeah.
Theoretically.
And you'd
Of
support
course.
yourself because
Of
the
course.
BUTcast supports troops.
Oh, yeah,
For sure.
no,
we support the troops. So anybody
support
who's
the
actually a
troops,
real veteran out there,
You
shouts.
got your shouts.
Shouts.
Shouts to the vets for real.
Shout out to the vets.
Shouts.
Big shouts.
Vets
Alright.
of both kinds.
Those
you know.
overseas, those who see the cats and like dogs
Yeah.
and stuff.
Anyways,
Wait,
they,
you don't like the vets?
I love the vets, but you guys are going on
Bro,
the
Ali
tangent.
doesn't support the vets. I
Nah,
heard.
I support
don't
the
think
Ali-
the vets-
anyways,
Ali does not like veterans.
Better support the
man.
vets, dog.
You know what? I actually almost joined the army, but that's another day. That's another story.
Oh, word.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyways, they once made
I think
clear.
Ali's a veteran. He's a secret veteran.
Clear.
They once made clear Coke for a Russian general. It was just straight up clear Coke.
Why?
Dude, that's
I,
like
I have
straight
no
French shit.
idea. I just saw that.
Yeah, bro.
What'd he do for
That's
it?
collusion.
I don't know.
It's collusion. It
Collusion.
is.
Yeah, that's
I gotta
So
agree with Ryan. That's straight up collusion.
They
Fake
tried to replace coffee with Coca-Cola.
Oh, those fuckers. Oh my
Uh-huh.
god.
And this one's the most crazy one, and that's the reason I chose this for the drink of the day, considering it's
It's
a decade
actually
in
made with
review.
Scandinavian poop water.
Not only is it the top drink of the decade, specifically the ones in a bottle,
Which decade?
Uh-huh.
this 2010.
Oh.
you did. But
Yo.
as of 2019, 3.1% of all beverage consumption around the entire world is Coca-Cola.
Yo, you shout out McDonald's because you know,
Yo, shouts to
you
McDonald's.
know that
that's-
McDonald's
that-
is a
they're putting in
huge
work.
player in
And-
that.
Coke's, they're doing big numbers, so that's
They-
that's
That's
shouts.
one of the other
Dude, they need to
facts.
get some wet cola because this is
They
fantastic.
One
get
of
their
the other
money up.
facts, Coca-Cola does actually make a different recipe for McDonald's
Yeah,
Coke,
that's why it
which
hits
is
different.
why it hits
Wow.
different.
Is that true?
Yeah.
We got
Oh
Coke.
no way! I
Yeah.
always thought that was BS.
McDonald's
People
has,
always
like,
said
their-
it tasted better. I thought it was
McDonald's
It
has their
does.
own patented recipe from Coke.
what?
We have a Coke super fan.
I don't know if it's patented, but I was reading. when I
Ali's
was
sitting
looking
over
stuff.
here all coked up. He's just ready to go.
That's
with
crazy.
facts.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
He's
Wow.
tripping, man. He's like Charlie Sheen,
But-
but a producer.
Interesting.
Let's give a rating with from to for this drink of the day. For
Okay.
me, it's a solid. I'm not a big pop drinker or soda, however you say it. So it's like I don't really dig it that much. But
Yeah,
that's just me. Obviously, half of the world enjoys pop. so
exactly.
Just half.
Well,
just
you
half,
have.
straight half.
You know, on a scale of I have to go with solid. I'm
Okay.
not much of a soda guy, pop guy.
See, I give it a. Mm-hmm.
Now, what if it weren't
Which is
wet?
like, you know,
he said.
You know, I like
You
Coke.
know.
Coke's one of my favorite pops when I do
Now,
drink
if this
pop.
wasn't wet cola, what
But
would
it's
it be?
wet, and the wetness really threw me off.
You don't like it wet. You like
So
just
if I had to
bone
give it a
dry.
number rating, it'd be like
Yo.
a 7.
If
I'd
we
say.
ever get
Seven?
Normal Coke would be
a
a
7?
nine,
Yo.
9.5.
Oh.
Tell me if we ever get to a point where we make merch. We're making a shirt that has a wet cola logo. on
Wet
it.
gotta be
cola.
Wet cola.
Hell yeah,
Wet
dude.
cola.
That wet cola.
Yeah, wet
That's
cola's
all
got
we get.
wet cola's
Uh-huh.
got nothing on. Wet cola has nothing on chili though.
No.
Oh, no,
chili,
no, no,
Fucking
no,
style of
never.
chili,
Yeah,
man.
you mentioned
Never.
chili.
Kinda
That's the
stuff-
end all be
Oh
all.
my god, that's the kind
Yeah,
of stuff
for
that
sure.
just makes me. That just drives me wild.
Chili baby.
Oh, you gotta
That's
love
it.
chili, man.
All
Chili's
right.
the kind of thing that just makes me just. Oh yeah, that's it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Glasses have a confetti.
Chili's,
Yeah,
man.
he had that confetti.
Well, hey,
He came with that.
look, I can't help it, man. I just love chili.
He came
you
with
know?
that confetti.
Oh,
But
back.
All right, the decade.
anyways,
All right,
back to the decade.
Yeah, so back to the decade.
if I
No,
were to review the decade, I'd get like an 8 out of 10.
on a scale of
I give it a.
I get a.
I gotta be honest. I give the 2010s a
Yeah.
solid.
Oh shit!
I think that was.
confetti.
I think it was
He
a great.
confettied.
I already did. Yeah, the sound happened several minutes
He
later.
communicated.
Oh, all the time, bro. All the time.
All right, what's up on our list though?
So,
What's next up?
Yeah, I mean, I think we made one of the great mistakes of the decade with our
What's
very
that?
first confetti explosion to begin the show.
Yeah.
As it
And
goes.
there's been a ton of really funny little mistakes or
Let's talk
just
about 'em.
mishaps.
It's a podcast. That's what we do.
That's what we do. We
Yo.
talk about.
Yo,
You
yeah,
rocking
the
the
table,
boat,
bro. That's
baby.
Goals for 2020.
Hey, if the table's rocking, don't come a
Yo,
knocking.
goals for 2020. We make enough money off the podcast to buy a new table.
do
Oh,
new
shit.
table goals, bro.
Yeah.
Sponsor
Goals
us.
2020.
Yeah, table
Wolf
goals,
chili,
man.
please.
Yeah,
Wolf chili,
chili.
wet cola.
Wet
I
cola.
mean, either one. If
There you
either
go.
one is like, man.
That's new table money.
And if you want to help us get a new table, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
Do
subscribe
it.
to our YouTube,
Do it.
Spotify, podcast, wherever you are getting it from, and like and follow our social media at TheBUTcast.
Maybe even
Twitter.
massage that notification button.
Oh my God,
Give it a
massage
little-
it. Just like
Give it a little shoulder rub.
Yo, and
Oh,
I'm
my
I'm around town. So if
Oh,
you just
man.
see me, want to give me some money, I'm
Yeah.
around town.
yeah,
You
like
just-
give him a,
just
and
catch
like
me around, you know.
you just don't like. I mean, man, if you want to like fondle his foul too, like that's that.
You know, give me some money. There you go.
like just
At Jake
loosely,
Kusash
just
everywhere.
like,
Table goals.
just like
Good luck
2020.
cradle
trying to
it,
spell
man.
the last name.
just like just like cradle that follow button, just like that, just like let and
Yeah,
then like
fall
then like
to the
set
floor.
it free, just like set it free
Uh-huh.
too, man. You got to.
Got a lot.
So,
One of the great mistakes.
Speaking of mistakes,
One of the great mistakes of the 2010s was of course me. I'm just kidding. That was a 90s mistake. But one of the great mistakes of the 2010 or funny flubs of the 2010 was Kim Kardashian's marriages. I think
shouts
in
to Kim,
particular,
though.
shout,
Yo,
yeah,
Kim
shout
K.
Out, yeah, shout of wet cola for Kim K.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough of that. Her first marriage of the decade lasted just 72 days with NBA legend Chris Humphries. You know a lot about Chris Humphries. You're a big
Damn.
Chris Humphries fan, right?
Oh,
The
I-
humps,
Yeah,
Chris
the
oh,
humps, bro.
Oh man, good old Humpy man.
Humps.
Who do you
Oh.
play for?
He played for the New Jersey Nets.
What position was he?
Well, to not
Dribbler?
any with
Shooter?
Kim.
He was a dribbler.
Dribbler, shooter, or
So straight
passer?
up-
Dribbled and shot.
Straight up dribbler.
That's
Like he
wild.
just dribbled
That's
all
wild.
over.
Shout out to sports for real.
Yeah, sports. ball.
2020, shout out to sports.
Oh man, God, 2020. There's gonna be so many sports.
What do you
here.
think? What do you think about?
Who's a power forward?
What do you guys think about like people like
She
in
powered forward without him.
people in Kim K's position, like just people who I don't want to say they're talentless, but people who have just made it
she's
big
pretty talented,
off
I
a
think.
straight
businessman.
just.
I don't know,
She's
yeah,
a
she is.
businesswoman.
Oh, that's fucking.
Get it
Bro,
right.
2020, I'm slipping.
2020, bro.
Progress
I'm
a little.
slipping. I'm slipping.
Yeah, you really.
But no,
are.
yeah, I agree.
Like, progress
But
a
like,
little.
there's just people
Jeez.
out there, whether they got
These guys
famous
are
from
whack
memes or
Yeah,
whether
it's
they
a
got famous
different-
for just doing stupid shit online.
Yeah, much like us. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we get there. That's what we want to be.
I like it. Got
Kim
new
K
table money.
podcast edition.
Yeah, Kim K, come on our podcast anytime. We got some wet cola for you.
Like cola and
Wet
chili.
Tons
cola.
of chili. If you like chili, I know Kanye's a chili guy.
He is?
He seems like a chili guy to
Kanye.
me.
Kanye seems like any kind of guy to me.
my
He just
God,
does
yeah,
what
he
the
does.
fuck he wants.
I feel like
He
one
does,
day he'll
man.
wake up, he loves chili. Other day he wakes up, he's throwing that shit in the
Man, I
trash.
hate chili.
Yeah, bro.
I don't think Kanye even knows what he
He's
is.
about
Oh.
to make them chili coated Yeezys.
Chili coated Yeezys.
I feel like he has to make those chili
Yeah.
coated Yeezys.
I'd wear 'em.
Yeah,
Shit, I'd film with chili and put my feet in them.
I mean, we're on the
No
topic of
socks.
Kanye. Kanye
Zero
had
socks.
Kanye had a big decade. He had a
Kanye-
really big
yes.
decade, but I don't think it's as big as some of these one-hit wonders that emerged.
Let's hear it.
I think the first one that really came into the woodwork was Rebecca Black's Friday.
Bro, the
One of the
legend.
worst songs
Legend.
I've ever heard,
Legend.
but it's so
Legend.
catchy. She's a legend. Rebecca Black's a legend. She is.
What's she do now? Is
Uh,
she
She
still
still
around?
she still makes music.
She does.
She's
only-
still
Who?
dropping songs on the regular
For
Right.
who?
for I think she got signed to
Herself?
a label. She got signed to a label.
Really?
Yeah, she got signed to a label, so it's
And I think she just dropped songs, and I mean,
She's she's like the OG example of someone using like a meme to get popular.
Yeah.
oh, it's fantastic.
well, the thing is, she made Friday, and then it just went viral because it was
Yeah,
just
and then
trash.
memes
Oh, it's
everywhere.
horrible.
And then she made like a
the
follow-up
music
song.
video's as cringy as the song.
Look, let's hear this genius. She made a follow-up song called Saturday, essentially
Ooh.
making fun of Friday. So by
That's
making
smart.
fun of herself, she boosted her own
That's
viewership.
smart.
That's smart. That's
Yeah.
genius.
Oh,
There's
it
other
was-
people that did that too. They just start off as like a meme. Like what's his face? Old Town Road Boy.
Oh,
That was like a
yeah.
meme. Start off as
Yeah,
like a
Lil Nas
joke.
Mason
He was-
Ramsey?
Yeah. Mason Ramsey too. No,
But
he's
no,
our
you're talking about
example.
Lil Nas?
Yeah, Lil
so-
Nas.
I mean, any song that's got
They
great,
start as a
great
meme and then just-
lyrics
just
like partying, yeah, partying, yeah, fun, looking forward to the weekend. Like that's
Dude, that's some
the kind of
lyrics.
music
Deep.
that like touches
That's
my
deep.
heart,
That's heat.
among other things. Wow.
That's heat,
Yeah,
bro.
so it's very deep,
Heat
man.
seeking missiles right there.
Yeah, I can only imagine what Saturday was like.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
others
for
like
us, yeah.
What Does the Fox Say is another terrible one.
Oh my fuck.
God,
that was a bop though.
That was a bop, but it was a
They played that
horrible
in
bop.
school in my fucking
Wow.
welding class as a joke.
Wow.
It was just the
Welding.
I
worst
feel like
thing
that's
ever.
a dangerous place to play that. Like you're just pissing everyone off.
Welding
with
class was fun, bro. They let us just go free with like straight welding machines and plasma cutters.
Ryan
bro.
Are you
straight up
serious?
welded this peach, man. He did.
What grade? What grade were you in?
I was
like
in
senior year. or
junior
something?
year of high school. That was like 11th
just gave
grade.
you-
Yeah.
What?
They just like taught us how to use the
I
shit.
thought
and set
something you
us
had to be like
loose.
certified.
No, bro.
Was back when you were double
In high school, they were like, "Yo, take these pieces of metal, weld them together. That's how you
Put
do it. Have
metal
fun."
Shit.
Get at it.
Yeah, within like the first week of welding
wild.
class, I was like welding my name onto a metal plate.
Really?
Yeah, it was cool.
That's
For,
sick.
for my high school talent show, we had like themed stuff.
Yeah.
They let you in a talent show?
You know what? I actually produced it.
Oh, no one cares. Let's move on.
But
So,
we did that song as our theme. It
Oh,
was
Friday?
The Fox Say.
oh, what does the Fox say?
Oh,
Dude, no.
that was a bomb.
Oh, I really wish.
Yo, shout out to your. What high school did you go to, Ali?
That high school was Crestwood. Crestwood.
Shout out
Yeah,
to
shout out to
Crestwood.
Crestwood.
Shout out to Crestwood, man.
Crestwood, big
Oh.
shouts out.
Oh, the big wood, man.
Big shouts.
Gotta love it.
Uh-huh.
It was the Crestwood Woods. You know, they're just the two. Their mascot was a 2x4. It's
There's just so
fantastic.
much shit that happened in this decade that we're just trying to blow through excuses if we're going so fast.
No.
But
I,
just
I mean,
have
on
to.
topic of like one hit wonder music, I think that was even more amplified for dances.
Gundam
There were
style.
tons of
Gangnam
fad
Style.
dances that came up that lasted a few
I
months.
said Gundam style.
Oh, Gangnam Style
Yeah.
was
Harlem
a great
Shake.
one. Harlem Shake was a great one.
that's huge.
Hit the Quan. Yeah.
Ali, what is Hit the
Ali,
Quan
yeah.
again?
Yeah. What's that?
Hit the Quan for us.
Yeah, hit the Quan, Ollie.
Oh,
you know you
He was
can.
doing it
The
earlier.
moment
Yeah,
cameras
yeah.
start running,
You
isn't
know
it?
you can.
He says hit the Quan.
Yes. No one told you to talk, Jimmy.
Don't yell at Jimmy.
No, he's like, oh, you do it.
I saw him smile and I was like, "We're not."
No, I
having
can't
it."
stand his smile. He's got that stupid. He's got those stupid
Hit
teeth.
the Quan. What's the Quan?
It's like
I
brushes.
don't know. I mean,
Hit the Quan for me.
Hit the Quan. I don't mean like.
this or something.
Whoa.
Wow.
Bro,
Oh, that is heat.
Damn.
Oh,
That is
shit.
heat.
He
right
said
Oh,
it.
he thinks he can dance, man.
said
That's
it.
oh my
Yo,
god.
bro, that was
Ali,
heat.
Yo.
Man,
Ali, bro, nice.
Oh my
That's dope.
god.
That
It's
was.
also on the
And
list.
then I remember
Let's get to
something about like a flag on the play. I don't remember.
So this wait, was there a
Yeah,
flag?
bro, like the refs.
Oh my god, man.
Shout out to referees in 2020.
Wait, Ali, when
The
you did
unsung
that-
heroes.
Like when you were doing that dance back at the big wood, were you the dribbler? Were you the dribbler in this case, getting the flag pulled on the play? It's sports, man. There's always a dribbler.
Do I look like someone who's in sports?
Yeah, you
Hey,
look like you're
man,
straight up.
Don't judge.
You're a straight up athlete.
You ever see
Bro,
Rudy
Ali plays
Dog?
darts for sure. he playing darts.
Yo, Ali, don't judge. You ever see Rudy, man, smallest man on
Yeah,
the
man.
team, still
Rudy.
made the New York Jets. Was it the Jets? I don't even remember.
I, know
I
that
think it
is.
was. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Jets.
yeah. Shout out to Gangrene.
List.
Yo,
Yeah,
what's
list.
next? What's
What's
next?
next? What do you think is next, man? I mean, there's tons that went on in sports. We can go on for
Yeah,
for
sports are just
forever.
ongoing.
No one cares about sports. Let's,
Especially me.
especially you. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
Jake.
Jake's just like
Jake's
sports.
Jake's the dribbler of our podcast for sure. You're definitely the dribbler.
Keep it bouncing.
Yeah, you gotta keep it bouncing. Anything else that you guys think of that was some key moment from the 2010s that we haven't touched on in this podcast?
From 2010s,
In the 2010s.
bro, I learned to ride a bike. That was hype for me.
Shit.
I started driving cars.
Yeah, whipping.
Whipping.
Oh yeah, he was
Whipping.
Whipping.
yeah, he was whipping, man, whipping it good.
Yeah.
All right.
I
So
don't
let's
know, what
look
else?
forward.
All right,
2020.
let's go forward. What's next?
It's 2020 now.
Yeah.
It is January 1st, 2020.
Yes.
Somewhere in the world. It's always a different place at a different time.
Mm-hmm.
Just that day.
Bro, time.
Time. Dude, what's the deal with
Bro,
time?
time
Yo,
is crazy.
roll that Pink Floyd song right now.
Oh my God, man. Time. Yeah, run the Pink Floyd song. Like tick tock on the. That's Pink
yeah,
Floyd,
that's
right?
Pink Floyd
Doc.
every day.
Yeah, I know.
But what is to come,
Yeah,
2020,
what's to come?
for the
What do you think is
BUTcast?
gonna happen in the
for
2020s? What do you think when we get to 2030? On this day in 2030, what will we be podcasting about from our walkers?
I mean,
VR
hopefully we'll be
VR
in like
will
some
take over.
studio, right?
That'd be
Like we'll
sick.
be in some studio, have a full crew, you know,
Yes.
doing it like
Get
that.
rid of Jimmy.
Oh, sorry, I had to, man.
Your
Let's
West
go.
Coke.
We're
So
gonna
excited.
confetti
Cola.
everywhere.
I confettied all over the place.
I think
man. got
I
this
really
all
think
in my
VR
mouth.
sports
I
is
gotta
about to
take
be
a shower.
huge. I think that's going to be the next big thing. I think VR esports is about to be
VR
it combines
oh, yeah.
video games plus
Oh,
athleticism.
and esports has taken such
That's
a
gonna be
rise.
massive.
Esports just has it's really exploded.
Exactly.
Like Ryan just you know
Like I just
confettied
did.
all over the place. But I think even beyond that, like, what do you think the impact of virtual reality medicine is going to be? Like all these people, like, do you think Homer Simpson's going to be the humanitarian of our society? Oh,
Bro,
oh, in the face!
Lives are about
Oh
to be
my
saved.
God, you just confettied in my eye.
Oh, sorry,
Jeez,
that's amazing.
no, it happens to the best of us.
Lives are about to be saved through video games.
Yeah. Oh, of course, they already
Yeah.
are. You want to
I don't know,
hurry
I
up on
think,
that, bro?
I think the TikTok vibe of like short content is going to be huge.
Yeah,
It's
it's the
already
new
coming
vibe.
back again. Yeah,
It is.
I think that's going to continue. I think that's a trend that will stay. Hopefully, podcasts stay fruitful.
Hopefully.
We still got
I
a
know.
lot
Yeah.
to
And
do,
it's-
a lot to work on.
Yeah.
So it's only gonna improve from here.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of shit that we probably
Do you guys think? Wait though. Do you guys think we're getting hoverboards though? Are hoverboards come in 2030? Is it
like
time?
actual hoverboards, like
Yes.
levitating off the ground with
not
like
the-
fucking magnets or
Not
some
the
shit.
wheels, Yeah, real hoverboards.
I think that depends. Like, in order to do real hoverboards, you have to have like magnets in the ground, right?
We
You
gotta
know?
have those
Bro, you
ground
can make
magnets.
magnets.
man.
Yeah.
And
I think it's
doable.
possible, but it's just gonna be one of those things. Like, I don't know.
It's not
Maybe
gonna be
in the
sick.
next 10 years, I think
You think
technology
there's
is
gonna be
change
land
a lot.
octopuses?
What about cars? Do you think we're driving still or no?
Oh, I think we're definitely driving.
You think we're
gonna
still
drive
driving?
Whipping. I'll be in that Tesla truck.
You are?
I want the Tesla truck to drive me though,
Yeah.
So
so,
you
I
like-
can talk on my Razor phone.
Ah,
So I'm coming 2020s.
Gonna
They're
two
gonna be
phone it?
roaring.
Two
I
flip
think
it?
Two
to be
phones,
said
just like
about
Kevin
the-
Gates.
I think to be said about the last decade alone, there's so much. We could have had a 3-hour podcast
Oh, there's
talking about
Yeah.
all
We
the
missed
shit.
so
We missed so
much.
much shit,
You know what?
but
I
we
think we have to say
short.
it. In the comments, complain about stuff that we missed. What didn't we talk
To
about
all
that
our
we should have
viewers
talked
in the
about?
first episode.
Yeah.
Right. To
I know all of our viewers this first episode is gonna be our friends. So you better comment.
Yeah.
Don't let me down.
Right. Comment in the
Maybe
give us a
nothing.
comment. What do you
Yo,
think
and
about
spread
wet
this
cola?
shit.
Oh, spread it all over the place.
Yeah,
man.
spread it.
Where
wide.
can they
Confetti
spread
everywhere.
it?
Spread it like the Ebola crisis from 2010
Like where?
to
Twitter?
2016.
Yeah, spread it on
Instagram?
Facebook, Twitter, wherever you want to spread it.
LinkedIn?
Put it on Reddit.
TikTok,
You know,
Reddit,
everywhere.
Friendster, man.
Indeed.
Oh, you have
we'll be
to.
everywhere.
Put us on ZipRecruiter, man.
Even then,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All those great places for us to be. And you know what? If the 2010s, if the 2020s, my apologies, don't work out, we've always got our Molotov cocktail.
There we go.
Right
and then we
here.
all gotta take a sip
So,
to end the night
Take a sip of that sweet, sweet
of
gasoline.
that old wine.
Oh.
Pass it. You start it
That's
off.
why you want to go? This-
I'll
look,
start it off.
It's your
to show you-
Molotov cocktail.
Show you it's real.
I'm not gonna grab another man's cocktail and. Oh man.
oh,
Oh shit.
Send her home,
Straight
dog.
up gasoline. Oh
we're
yeah.
coming up
Shout
on.
out to 2020.
Shout outs 2020. Look forward to us every fucking week.
Every week, yeah,
Every
that's true.
fucking
We're
week.
making one every single week podcast,
Some
all through 2020. Hopefully 2021, but we'll see. Let me
Man.
cork it.
Yeah, cool.
shit.
I
Bruh.
just missed, man.
Get it
It
after.
tastes like toes.
But Tyler, I want you
Not that I
to
know.
bring us out.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up
Wrap
in
it
the
up.
in the best way possible
This is
for
for
the
the
year.
decade. This is how you're wrapping
This is
up
the
beginning.
start.
This is
Well,
the
look.
beginning of the decade.
The
You're wrapping
beginning
up
of
It's
the
it.
decade.
It's over. Forget about the 2010s. It never happened. We're moving on. It is 2020, and we are so glad to be in 2020 with you. Not with
Just hit different.
not with Ali. Definitely not with Jimmy. Jimmy, we stay in the 2010s.
Ali at Loki got said.
Just stay in the 2010s.
But the BUTcast 2020.
BUTcast, yeah.
We're coming. We're coming up, baby.
We just look at what we did. We've already been coming all over the place here. So that's it for this podcast celebrating the 2010s. Of course, like, follow, and subscribe to our videos and our podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, and follow us on social media, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at TheBUTcast. For Jake and Ryan, I'm T-Bone. That is it for this week's BUTcast.